Welcome to my talk, Agile and Automotive Spice. So this is, I would like to call it a bit of a lighter talk compared to the other technical ones, but to be honest, in terms of legislations and processes, it's never light, but I'll try to keep it as light as possible. So a bit about myself. I'm a newcomer here. I've not been at SDV before, so I thought I would just spend a minute to introduce myself. So I'm a software project manager with Knowit, a consultancy company. I have 15 years of experience with embedded and automotive projects. Yeah, I've always been passionate about software. To be honest, my journey with computer software started with 8-bit computers, Commodore 64, where I wrote some software using BASIC and 6502 assembly. Some of you are, I guess, familiar with that. I see some smiles around the room. Yeah, and to be honest, I've continued my road here ever since. So, the agenda. I will go through three main parts here. I will describe a challenge that I faced during my software project management career. Basically, there are certain difficulties integrating Agile Scrum in particular, and Automotive Spice. I will describe a solution that we've achieved during a significant software project, and I will tell you in the end if it worked out or not. Kind of walk you through the journey here. So, the challenge. I've had the privilege between 2019 and 2023 of running a quite large software project for a large European OEM. That was about 25 people and a significant number of features. And we were tasked by the OEM to run in parallel Agile Scrum. In fact, in a quite large-scale Agile framework where several hundred people were involved, but that's usually the case with infotainment projects and automotive projects in general. And we were also required to conform to Automotive Spice. And this is quite a pattern nowadays because of the regulations that are coming into force in the EU. Basically, every year there are more and more of them due to cybersecurity regulations, due to UN ECR 155, due to ISO 21434. Basically, all OEMs are required to have a software management framework. So it's quite typical for large OEMs to require Spice. It's one of the most common software management frameworks. And also, developers like to work with Agile. They are kind of opposed to the very formalized ways. So how conflicted are those two? The waterfall. The waterfall is the oldest, probably the oldest. I mean, I'm not even that old to comment if there was something before that. It's the oldest software methodology. And the picture is actually of the biggest waterfall in the world, so it kind of matches. That means it's also the methodology that has influenced software development the most over the years, the decades that it has existed. And as a result, it has also influenced the regulations that came. So the waterfall is based on the V model, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. It's very easy to understand. It's a large model, large scale. It means that we start with a concept, we start with system requirements, we start with a high-level view of how the system shall work. Then we kind of dive a bit deeper. We look at the requirements, break them down. We do requirements elicitation. We start a design phase, so that means we think in careful steps how to define the system. And after all that heavy work was done, we can jump into the implementation. That takes time. Then we do some validation stuff on the other side of the V. So we kind of flow back up from where we came. And looking at the other sides of the V, we do the validation. We kind of look at the lower level design. We verify that. Then we look at the higher level design and requirements, and we validate that. And in the end, we get acceptance. This is the old model. It's quite heavy, but it's also quite easy to follow. It just takes time. And then, around the time when the waterfall and V model was kind of becoming the old thing, when people were starting to discover its limitations, we were kind of yearning for a faster pace to go into the market faster. We had some actually very interesting talks just before, talking about the need for high-pace innovation and going to the market with new software updates several times a year. But yeah, we had in the past the waterfall, we had the V model, and we were delivered the Automotive Spice, which is a formalized way of looking at software development. It's actually not even a handbook. I like to call Automotive Spice as a meta handbook. It's kind of tells you, if you make a handbook for your project, what contents does this handbook need to have? What are the outputs that are needed from your software development model? So on the high level, people say, oh, Automotive Spice is not the model. It's not tight. But if we look a bit closer, yeah, you cannot really hide it. The V model is part of it. It's quite an integral part of it. So yeah, there we go. The Automotive Spice with the V model starts with the software requirements analysis, software architectural design. So again, we are diving deep from the one side of the V. Then we go to the software detailed design and unit construction, software unit verification, software integration and integration test, and software qualification test. So all the steps that I talked before. And to be honest, when you are the company that is working for that OEM, that said OEM, in the end you get the auditors in the same room as you, and you have to kind of explain to them where in your software development framework all those interesting steps are, because they will, as they open their meta handbook, the Automotive Spice handbook for the assessors, they will look for each of those details. Okay, and funnily enough, around the time when the Automotive Spice was kind of formalized and the version went out that we are all subject to, also we kind of saw the birth of the Agile concept. So there was, around the same time actually, it's quite interesting, the Agile Manifesto came out. So you see the two trends, kind of setting in stone the V model using the Automotive Spice methodology, and at the same time, the developers asking for communication over processes and speaking to people and kind of feeling the software, and those auditors in those heavy codes saying, yeah, but okay, here we are, Agile landscape. Agile is also, I'm a big fan of standards. The best part of standards is that there are so many of them. For Agile, we have, of course, Agile Scrum, Kanban, various TDD, FDD, then you have the larger stuff, SAFe. I'm a project manager, you know, and sometimes when I go into the project, they say, oh, we don't have a budget for a Scrum Master, and then they ask the project manager to run Agile. And that's when you get the last part, that's feudal Agile. So I kind of, the teams recognize that, I come to them with a planning, I tell them what the planning is, and then they say, okay, we'll try to make it happen. Okay, so there are also a bunch of Agile misconceptions. Agile means documentation is optional. Developers like to think that, okay, we're Agile, we can just make various stories, we'll make tasks for ourselves, we'll kind of omit the documentation, or we'll tell the guys, okay, we'll do the documentation later. Agile means we can just test in production. So, yeah, okay, let's just get this done. Let's get the minimum viable product out there. That's the nice Agile buzzword. And let's get it done. Let's make the customer happy. Management is stressed quite often about Agile because they don't see the planning. They come to the Scrum Master and they say, okay, how long is this going to take? And he starts talking to them about team velocity and story points. And the guy asks, okay, how much is a story point? Is it a day, an hour, a week? And whole frustration entails. CI/CD is going to take care of everything, right? Yeah, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Depends how much money you put into that. Sometimes it's more of a chore. Okay, and yeah, if you look at these misconceptions, and again, the automotive spice auditors come, they are stressed because they start looking for these in action. So they say, okay, you're an Agile team, yeah, nice. You have automotive spice. You need to achieve level 1 or level 2 or level 3, but you have spice. You have Agile mismatch. They are nervous. Okay, so I'm a practical guy, so we kind of thought about this for a little bit, and we figured out how to approach it, how to kind of defeat this obstacle. You have a large piece of software. The big challenge is to kind of treat it as a granular concept. So the best thing you could do is to slice it into features. As long as you're able to do that, as long as you're able to isolate features within your software specification that are somewhat self-contained and testable, standalone, I know this is a hard ask. Not many projects you can do that in, but to be honest, I've worked in infotainment, I've worked in instrument cluster projects, I've worked in I/O controller projects. Typically, you can, if you spend some time on this, you can do that. You can do this granular stuff. Okay, then I have my feature. What if I figure out to do 3 sprints? What if in sprint 1, I take my feature and I do the first 2 V-model-like steps of automotive spice? So I take the system requirements, I break them down, and do the software requirements analysis, the elicitation. I do the design step, and kind of prepare tasks for the developers. So the Agile thinking way, make the stories, make the tasks. And then I go into sprint 2, the development sprint. And there we ask the developers, okay, guys, we have this feature, we broke this down for you, the architects, so the blue team did their work. Do it, please implement this. I mean, you don't have to really think about it too much. It's explained. There is a nice concept we used in our work, which is we made simply a kind of a wiki page on each of the features, and we described the feature in detail there, both the high-level view and the low-level view in there, also linked to the board with the tasks in there. And then just please consult that, please consult your boards, and implement the stuff. And they will dive in, they will do the detailed design and unit construction, they will do the unit verification, they'll run the unit tests. Usually doable within a sprint, or at least you have to make it. So, and then third sprint, delivery. So then we ask the third team to do their needful. So they will do the software integration and integration tests, so they will take the component that the developers wrote, they will put it in the bigger software, and they will run it on a bench, see if it works, and they will also check it against the system requirements on a higher level. And this I call the delivery step. But okay, so we took one feature. We spent 6 weeks on this. Let's assume a sprint is typically 2 weeks. We just spent 6 weeks developing one feature. Management is really happy. But okay, I mean, we have people bored here in sprint 2 because the architects are not doing anything. So why not add another feature? Let's take another one. So this is starting to resemble kind of a conveyor belt because we just took the idle architect team in the second sprint and gave them another feature to work on. Why not add another one? And to be honest, this works really well. It can scale. We did this with a project with over 100 features, to be honest. We made roadmaps, kind of a very rough planning, which allowed us to coordinate this work. It became quite predictable. I mean, management was happy. And the software was working. So you could call it the 3D approach, design, develop, deliver, 3-sprint approach. I've read some books on, of course, various software project methodologies, and you can find similar approaches there, but this is quite light. I mean, I'm not giving it a grand name. It's simply a way of working, a way you work with the software and show it how it can be done. Okay, so did this work? Yeah, I just talked about this, sorry. So easy to plan, easy to execute. Oh yeah, one thing I missed. So if you take this approach, you actually do notice that it's the V model per feature. So you kind of, there's a joke about combining waterfall and agile, so that many teams just slice the waterfall model into sprints. I kind of slice it in a different way. I slice it per feature. And this works. So the V model can be identified on a feature level. Each feature is documented on this wiki page, and it's easy to scale, clear flow. So we kind of arrived back at the ease of use of the V model, the waterfall, but still we actually managed to use Agile here. So the conclusion. I'm not sure how many of you, as I mentioned, I'm first time here, so I don't know many of you. But some of you probably recognize this sheet from an Automotive SPICE report. But for those who don't, I'll explain. The SPICE or assessors use kind of a reverse scale compared to the English one. So for the English, the F is a fail. For the Automotive SPICE assessors, the F is a fully, so they are happy. So it's green, it's kind of quite the opposite. The L is a largely. So actually they were quite happy. They were impressed with the way we sliced it, and they were actually surprised. I don't think they saw many companies doing it this way. So slicing the software by features and then applying the V model per feature. Can Agile and SPICE live in harmony then? It depends. It depends on your project. If you have a very small project, then maybe you have to do your whole project in waterfall because it cannot be sliced in feature-wise. But for many, where you have these individual requirement specs from the OEM, which are kind of pre-sliced feature-wise, and then you do your due diligence and slice them further so that they are manageable sprint by sprint, it can work, and it did work for us. So, yeah. I don't think I can take much more of your time because maybe some questions are in order, but I hope this clarifies for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tomasz.